Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to NFL Contract Advisors. So, you want to be an agent, and who doesn't? Think about it. You get a kid, they graduate from UCLA with an MBA, and they got a couple options. They can go negotiate contracts for a dry cleaners for the next 30 years, or maybe they want to try their luck in sports and entertainment. That sounds like a pretty sweet gig. And they kind of think going in, I'm going to become an NFL agent. I'm going to be on the ESPN and the talk shows. But it's not quite like that. It's not going to be, Super Bowl parties and private jets and popping bottles all day long. And that's where we come in as sports law attorneys to kind of walk them through the rules and regulations, the disclosures, the deadlines, all the unfun stuff that goes into a licensed profession like this. So, one thing to keep in mind with agents is that they really love the action and not the paperwork. It doesn't really matter if it's a real estate agent or a talent agent or a sports agent. They don't do it because they want to sit behind the desk, and they kind of see the paperwork as optional. And that's something we really got to communicate to agents, is that the way you keep your job, the way you keep that license, is handling the disclosures, the deadlines, and the records. And I'm going to keep going back to that time and time again today, because that's really important. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of what it takes to become an agent at that level. As for me, my name is Brian Brunco. I'm a Seattle-based California and Washington attorney. A little bit of background in mortgage compliance in addition to NCAA athletic compliance. Lots of rules and regulations, not a lot of pictures, but it keeps me busy. Outside of work, coached a lot of youth and high school football, the wide receivers and the defensive backs, so pretty much all the divas. And I used to, before COVID, I used to speak live at high school clinics for high school coaches on student athlete development and NCAA recruiting best practices. I've authored a couple of short sports parenting books on the same thing, student athlete development. It's kind of a passion of mine. And that's kind of what I do. So I really appreciate you taking time today to discuss NFL contract advisors. Along the way, I'm going to use what I call 3 a.m. stories to kind of reinforce the points that we're going to make today, because it doesn't matter what area of law you practice. If you send a client out the door with a stack of documents, they don't read it. It's in one ear, out the other. So we got to solidify the rules and regulations with stories. You give them the rules and regulations because that's our obligation, but also you communicate stories because that's going to be sticky. It's going to be concrete information, and they can take that and remember it 6 months down the road, which is always kind of nice. And with these agents, you got to keep in mind you're dealing with highly paid players. I mean, attorneys coach up the agents so the agents can coach up the players, and the agents are dealing with players who are highly paid, high profile, and high maintenance, and they got to be kind of ready for this. So when we talk about these 3 a.m. stories today, that's kind of what we're really trying to hammer home with these agents, kind of the day-to-day function of what an agent does. They kind of think, well, I'm going to get the contract signed with the Dallas Cowboys, and my job is done. I'm going down to Cabo after that. No, that is just the starting line. That's 25% of the job. Really, NFL agents, they make their money in their careers by being that fiduciary and the go-to person after that contract gets signed. And that comes down to the 3 a.m. phone calls. Happens all the time. You watch ESPN on the ticker. Stuff's going down all the time. Guess who gets the call? It's the NFL agent. So our hypothetical for today, we're going to have our client coming in, Jamie. Jamie just graduated from UCLA with an MBA. He or she or they, whatever pronoun is being used. Jamie wants to become an agent, and Jamie is smart. Jamie wants to do some preventative maintenance ahead of time, find out how to stay out of trouble. So we've got a 10 a.m. Appointment with Jamie. We got some coffee, some bagels, maybe a little bit of schmear. We're all set for Jamie to come in, and we're going to kind of walk Jamie through from the 30,000 foot level, the obligations, what to do, what not to do, and kind of, again, those disclosures, the deadlines, and the records that are so important to keep that career on track in a licensed profession like being an NFL contract advisor. So Jamie, what's Jamie's situation? Jamie graduated from UCLA with an MBA, no legal background, so Jamie's not going to look at the same things that we do, look at things the same way as we do, So Jamie's got about $120K in student loan debt. Jamie is lucky. That's not a lot of debt, but it's still a chunk of money. Jamie's also got credit card debt of about 23K and maybe no health care. That means Jamie is desperate to get some money coming in. And what happens when somebody is a little bit of desperate? They make bad decisions. They take shortcuts. They do things that are unethical. They poach clients. They do stupid stuff because they're desperate. But there's nothing written into the ethics that say if you're desperate for cash, you can take a few shortcuts. So that's what we want to talk to Jamie about today, is really making good decisions as Jamie starts to get ready to become an NFL contract advisors.